Let's start with the fact that I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group. 5D, oneness consciousness, integration of the brain, mysticism, something you experience, perceive. I can also understand it. And it's not a special gift, because actually neuroscience and physicists and the people who study the hard problem of consciousness, there's so many different academics, they know how to explain our clairs. Okay, so one, not special gifts, and the only reason the 4D don't know that, well, we'll get to that in a minute, but primarily I'm trying to share those who do have clairs and are spiritual. They're meant to support with love, wisdom, equanimity, and not fear. And what I get to see from a lot of times, moment to moment, on any of the platforms, even though I'm primarily on YouTube and TikTok when it comes to videos, and I hear they're very fear-mongering prophecies and all this stuff that I am going to just put to the side for a minute and say it's not only actually on the platforms in my day-to-day when I've met 4D mystics is what I call them. And it's not a race here, no, but they actively don't have their inner child healed. So they're not a whole 1-year-old. I'm attachment trauma informed. So they don't know the innocence of being their inner child yet. In fact, what they're doing is projecting their unfinished business. So the maladaptive child behavior is what comes through, but the reality is they are actively tapping into a sphere, because those who have clairs, they are in a relationship with this relational field, is what some call it, or the sphere of consciousness, Akash. You can use all the words you want. It's energy. Okay, so 5D mystic, again, I like to just break it down energy. I have not gotten more educated on anything related to the ancient stories of esotericism and metaphysics and however it is, because there's no need. I have my own relationship, and bringing to the human element is actually the most important one. So when I got clairs, I wasn't destabilized. I wasn't confused. In fact, I've grown up with Jesus and God. So I actually knew exactly what was happening, in a way of, this is not the past, and I'm not anointed. I am actually officially out of the 3D community, for specifically those who follow, biblical texts in a way of being closed-minded to what love is, which is all around. So number one, there's plenty of beautiful and amazing people that I've shared mysticism with, and they don't look at me like I'm some weirdo or evil human being. Others, on the other hand, that's actually funny, because I don't recognize if somebody is afraid until somebody tells me, and then I think they're joking because I'm 4'9". Like, you can't, are you? So I actually can't fathom or conceptualize when somebody says it, except for my left mode. It's gonna be like, okay, wait a minute. Yes, I'm so far away from that type of closed mentality that I can't even understand it, which I don't want to. But when I see 4D doing, which I did, I recently saw one of the actually tarot readers. She started out really great, and she began to become this voice of this fear-mongering. I'm not going to pinpoint it, but she shared recently some scary-ass prophecy, if you will, which is from the ancient times and doesn't need to be online. This is not the way that any of the, by the way, our ancestors worked. They were here to support humanity, not make them afraid or spread rumors or create disinformation and everything else that instead the 4D continues to seem to not understand. And here's the part, their inner child, as I was saying, is not healed. So they're not grounded in their humanity. In fact, what they have is unresolved trauma. I've seen people in pseudo-aliveness on camera while they're clearly in what is clinical dissociative moments of their own, and they have no interest to go and get support. In fact, they're actually also spiritual bypassers. The ones who flip from one extreme to the next, yeah, they're not any better. I've seen them spreading other rumors. Yoga brings demons out of you. There ain't no demon. They don't get educated. They don't learn about Patrick McNamara and neuroscience. Oh, I'm so sorry. They also don't believe that you don't have some demon inside of you because of their mind's eye and what they experience. So when I've had the opportunity to do Akashic record readings and to be out there with people who have experiences, I've been able to support them to know there's no need for you to be afraid of anything of this evil stuff. There's a scale. It's Michael Stone, forensic criminologist. All those people need a good therapist, number one. 2, your mind's eye, it's imagination. There's neuroscientists. I've introduced education information to support people. 3, take your brain seriously, please. And if you have more nightmares or any type of situation, you might want to get a good therapist that can work with you and help you ensure that you're good and that you can expand a window of tolerance to a window of welcome for your emotional stuff that can double check whatever's going on. Okay, so the part of what 4D does is completely irritating to me personally. I didn't think that they would stay in the bandwidth, and I'm right now scratching my head because I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to speak something that I've been noticing and that I also personally get to deal with. So one, again, love is about you being able to be good with being a human in your body. So if you don't heal that inner child of yours, you're not actually seeing clearly at all. You're not even speaking a truth. You may think you are, because I also know, so the one lady that I took as an example, she's not the only one that literally has gone down this rabbit hole, and every year she gets worse. She doesn't get better. I saw her get worse. And that's the same thing with anyone who didn't take care of their own humanity and say, yeah, I'm a human. No, they began, I'm anointed, I'm special, I'm somebody who's doing something, and comparing yourself or themselves, not you, to what is somebody from the past. Do you not realize that that is actually you taking on an identity? So that tells me you don't know your name, which is also why you think. And so long story short, we want to create a group of 5D mystics because it's very beautiful to have clairs, and there is a sphere of energy, but not the way the 4D is doing it. So one, my message for the spiritual community that actually cares to be wise, loving, equanimous, your inner child is the first step. So you being able to love that you're a human and to have secure attachment, integration in the brain, that's your healthy inner and outer self-worth. And your healthy everything, because you're going to navigate your ventral vagal nervous system. So I'm attachment trauma informed. In fact, you're going to be an empowered human being for real, not pretend, which is where the pretend people, again, 4D, 3D bandwidth, and I use these words, but really it's just ignorant human beings who actually don't get educated and don't recognize, oh, look, I got an ego self. I got a 3-year-old. Let me make sure I like playing with all people out there, because, you know, security means that you are your safe haven, and then you can go out and play secure base. The world is not safe, but that doesn't mean we need to be doing what the 4D does and making it look like every year some drastic shittiness is going to happen, which, again, fear mongering. So that's not what our ancestors did. Our ancestors are our ancestors, and the fact that a person doesn't realize that they're using textbooks from ancient times, and then they're, you know, they should really read Patrick McNamara's book on decentralization and the religious self, because they would clear up what's going on. Instead, they just switch. And in fact, he explains that in one of his videos, how if you don't expand your consciousness, you go rigid. In fact, you're not working with your inner or outer well-being. So these people, they don't grow healthier by the minute. No, you see them grow less healthy, which is actually quite sad for me, who cares about people. So they think they're speaking a truth. They're not. If you're spiritual in any way, shape, or form, spirituality, actually, I read to you that lovely quote. Let me go find it. I think I have enough time, and then we'll get to this card right here. But it is not what they're doing. It is not when somebody's taken up the name, having people call them masters and master. It's a different time. We don't need to be using any of that. And then again, anyone who doesn't know who they are, doesn't have a healed inner child, will follow the magical wand. And there you go. And that's why they end up in certain types of situations, which you can try warning people. Adaptive children don't actually listen, because that's the point. They are looking for their ideal parent and the reality they want to live. So they get lost in their world. A way of living with meaning and connection beyond the solo self. That is spirituality. Thank you, Daniel Siegel, for that, from a conference that he went to on spirituality. So here's where I have enough time for at least one of these. And the crow. The crow is the keeper of the universal law, the law of truth. Crow teaches us to walk our talk, to find congruence between who we say we are and who we really know ourselves to be. You can only do that if you know you're 0-1-year-old, attached, panicky, you're 3 to 7, shame, submissive, you're freeze of all ages, you're flight 11, 12, and you're fight 14, 15, 16. And if you believe in yourself like a grown-up, and you're emotionally accountable, emotionally aware, and so you bring love because you have the oxytocin gene hormone on here, and you know you're imperfect and flawed like anybody else. Nobody needs to be any saving anything. That's egoic. It's egoic, and it's not part of the time. So please, let's stop. And 5D mystics, if you want, come on over here. And yeah, spirituality is way better than what you see some of these people doing. Tune in for more.